A marriage is successful when the husband and wife work together as a team. Marriages are not easy, and problems that arise in marriages, they don't fix themselves.
In this episode, we're going to talk about what makes a marriage great and what makes a marriage not so great. We're going to talk about things we have done that has worked for us and things that have not worked for us. We're also going to talk about and share some resources that we have used to help our marriage be better.
All right, stay tuned. I'm Joey.
And I'm Lori.
We are Christ-Centered Marriage and Family. We hope you've been watching our videos. If you have not, please subscribe to our channel and check out our previous videos in our channel list. We have two aspects to our channel. Today we're going to be doing our first aspect, which is our Christ-Centered Marriage. We also have the blended family, which we're a blended family. And we're just getting started with our YouTube challenge, and we're not very good at it, but we're getting better. We will get better. So, and I hope that you can bear with us. And you're on our beginning stages of our channel. So we thank you for watching this video. And if you subscribe, we thank you for subscribing and like the channel and comment. Please comment. Got questions? Please ask. Previously, we have been doing shows on blended families. In the last show we did on what does the Bible say about marriage and divorce and then remarriage. And it was kind of controversial. And if you haven't seen that, go back and watch it. You may not agree or disagree with what we have to say, but watch it. We encourage you to watch it. Um, and now we're going to go back to our marriage series.
And today we're going to talk about things that make a marriage great and things that make a marriage not so great. And we have come up with two lists. So we both wrote down things that we thought we were doing right and things that we tried that didn't work or things that we were doing that we should have been doing. And then we came together and compared our lists and we just
Yeah.
kind of combined what we both put and made two lists. So what makes a marriage great and then what doesn't make it great.
Yep. And if you saw our little premiere video, our little short video we did earlier today, we talked about the Weekend to Remember retreat that Family Life puts on. We went last year in May. We went to Branson's Weekend to Remember at Family Life. It's a 3-day event, and they talked some serious stuff. And I tell you, some of that stuff they talked about was kind of uncomfortable for us because I had to tell her some problems I have. She had to tell me some problems I have, and we had to talk about stuff, and we had to really get serious about things. But it was one of the best things we've ever done. And since then, we have been striving to make our marriage better. And now we want to make your marriage better. And so here at the end, we'll talk about that Weekend to Remember again because we're going again in May in Branson again. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So I'll start with the list. What are some ways a husband and wife can make a marriage great? Number one.
Number one is putting Christ first in your marriage. Pray together, read the Bible together. If you don't read the Bible together, maybe read it on your own and then come together and discuss what you've read. But either way, you need to read it together. This is what we read: Family Life Marriage Bible.
I have about, she's got about a dozen Bibles, and I've got about 2 dozen Bibles, specialized. And we like this one. We sit down at the end of the night. Sometimes we read this together.
Yeah, it's got marital tips in there as well. So you're not just reading the Bible, you're actually getting marital advice as well. So we like that too. We've done some of the things that are in there. Sometimes we do them, sometimes we don't. We are, our kids are a little bit older, so sometimes if there is a suggestion with small kids, whatever, we just ignore that. We don't have small kids anymore. So some things you can do to also is make a prayer journal. We have a little notebook that we keep. So when we pray together, we may not always pray together every single night. It just depends on what's going on, but we try to do it regularly. And so we put in there prayer requests that we have, or maybe our church members have, or so that we can pray for those people, those needs. And then the Bible we just showed you. So.
And that prayer thing, I'm going to say it up front. So I'm going to say what you're probably thinking. How do you do that? How do you get to the point where the husband and wife pray together? You might think, I wish my husband would do that. I wish my wife would do that. We just started doing it.
We just started doing it. And just to be honest, I grew up Catholic, and I was saved when I was 18, and I'm 52 now, and I still am not super comfortable praying out loud. So it is something that you just have to step out of your comfort zone and do. and just do it because you need to.
And I'm kind of the opposite. I went to a Southern Baptist church where, there's some family and friends from Kentucky hear this. I don't mean to be disparaging, but they, often pray. Kind of like sound like they're reading the King James version. And so prayer to me is different from prayer to her. So number 2, have frequent intentional conversations without distractions. That's something that we thought we were doing well throughout the years. And then after we went to that weekend to remember, we actually learned what a good conversation is. And reading some books, other books like this book here, Fierce Marriage, Ryan, Selena, Frederick. I'll talk about it too. We talk about having great conversations. And it's it's really easy, but it's really hard
Mm-hmm.
because you have to really be intentional. You gotta look at each other's eyes, and you gotta ask. I gotta ask her something, and I gotta listen to what she tells me. And sometimes it helped me to repeat. So you're saying this, and am I hearing this correctly? So having great Scott and sometimes you got to put the phone away and turn off the TV and wait till the kids are asleep. So it's just your husband and the wife together. Tell the dogs and cats to get out of the way.
Yeah,
But um,
and it
be
has to,
intentional.
and it has to be like deep conversations. Like it
Yes.
can't just be, okay, what are we doing tomorrow? The
Yep.
kids are doing this, and I have to do this at work, and not just the superficial conversations, but and if you need help and what to talk about, there's all kinds of resources out there that you could, you know, conversation starter
Hmm.
type things that I think Family Life
We've
has
even
some
tried
on
that
there.
before. We
Yeah.
tried those too. Let's talk about this, and it was fun. But I'm telling you right now, all the things we're going to talk about, we have learned through these things, and we're at a different level now that we wasn't at this time last year.
Hmm. And we're not certified marriage counselors or anything like that. We are just sharing with you our own experience, real life experience. We're just real people. We're not influencers or whatever trying to look good. We're just telling you we felt when we went to the marriage conference last year, we looked at each other, we were like, especially went to the blended family section, especially we were like, we have to do more with this
Hmm.
because and again, we didn't know what we didn't know, and we didn't realize how much help we didn't have that we should have had, and we didn't have it. And so we want to be that help.
We learned so much at the conference and our books, and we're thinking, I wonder if other people know this. And I said, I bet majority of married people don't know what we just learned.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well, and one of the things I asked, one of the conversations we had, were like, why don't we talk about this stuff in church?
right,
Why do we never hear about
right.
this stuff in church?
So that's why we're
Marriage is
talking to
like
you right
a
now.
fundamental thing in a Christian life. Should be your marriage. Should be.
Hmm.
Why don't we ever talk about it? Why don't we never hear about it? So anyway.
That's one of the first things that God did when He created people. He made a man and a woman, and He joined them together. Marriage, one of the first things of creation. All right, number 3. That's you.
I practice non-sexual physical touch regularly. So somewhere I think I saw or he saw, I forget where on Facebook or something about 15-second kiss, or maybe it was
It was
Ryan
Ryan.
Frederick thing.
It's in here. Yep.
Yeah,
15-second kiss.
15-second kiss. So
Yeah.
you just in the morning when you get up
The
before you go to work,
oxytocin.
yeah, releases oxytocin, and then again when you see each other, if we both go to work like we do, you come together after work,
Mm-hmm.
share a 15-second kiss, and it doesn't have to be,
Embrace.
yeah, it doesn't have to be
Embrace.
sexual. It's
Right.
just reconnecting.
Right.
Oh, this is my kitty cat. Look into each other's eyes often, like you was talking about a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
Tend to your spouse's aches and pains. I have a lot of joint aches and knee aches and stuff, so he'll put lotion on my knees. I've got some stuff we bought at one of our outings.
Mm-hmm.
It's a natural lotion. It's got like peppermint in it. It's supposed to be good for aches, so he'll put that on my knees sometimes
You
after
gotta
I've
do
been in
them,
school.
husbands. You gotta do those things. You have to.
And then hold hands in public and sit with your spouse. Just do
Mm-hmm.
those things that maybe you just take for granted and you just
Mm-hmm.
eventually stop doing them. Maybe do
Guys,
them while you're dating, but
hold
then,
your wife's hand. I don't care if you've been married 1 year or 50 years. Hold your wife's hand. She'll appreciate it.
yeah,
Sit with your spouse too. Man, in churches, husbands and wives not sitting together.
yeah.
Sit with your spouse. Okay, number 4, do things together. Go on dates, plan weekend getaways. Okay, look. So let me clarify this. You and me and her going out to a restaurant, ordering dinner, and sitting on our phone, you know, like this, looking at each other. That's not a date.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a date. Go out, put away your phones, your tablets, whatever. Talk to each other. Enjoy each other. Look each other in the eye. You know, just you and your wife or you and your husband, away from the kids, away from the work and the environments. Go out and have a good time and communicate. Enjoy each other.
You remember that time we went to Starbucks and we went to Starbucks?
Yeah.
We were sitting in the corner.
We were asking each other these
Yeah, we
questions.
brought these little questions with us, and there's this guy sitting behind
You
us,
like,
and he was like, "What? This had the crazy.
yeah.
What are y'all doing?"
All right, number 5. That's you.
Number 5, help each other around the house. So that should be a no-brainer. But I know there's a lot of marriages out there where one spouse does all the work and the other one does it. But, and it's not like he's helping me or I'm helping him. We just see what needs to be done and you
Yeah,
do
we
it.
just do it.
And so sometimes he does the dishes, sometimes I do the dishes, sometimes he cooks, sometimes I do, sometimes he does the laundry, sometimes I do it. It just depends. Like today, he put the laundry in the washer, I took it out and put it in the dryer. So we
Something else
just,
that I do, and it's mainly, I think it's more of a budget thing.
yeah,
I do all the grocery shopping, so I
yeah.
do that every week.
I do it once in a while. Like sometimes he'll take our youngest son out of town somewhere for a wrestling match or something, and
Our outings.
or yeah, and so I'll go do the shopping, but he does the budget, which I'm glad because I don't want to. So he does the grocery shopping mainly because it just helps him stay within our budget.
All right, number 6, be intentional about physical intimacy. Show interest in each other. You may want to schedule your intimacy. That sounds crazy, but I'll have her talk about this. She better talk about it. Establish a good rhythm. Now, Ryan and Selena Frederick, they are the Fierce Marriage People. You can look them up. They have a great podcast, and recently they talked about sexless marriages. You know, we're not young anymore, so we're not going to be doing the same things that a 19, 20, 25-year-olds would do. But they keep telling the story about a man that called into their show and emailed them and said, "We haven't had sex in 9 years." Wow. Now, look, and these things that we're talking about, um, they help
Mm-hmm.
when we're connected and we're helping each other, and all these things that we're doing on the list. It leads up to the physical intimacy. If I come home from work and then I go say I'm going out with the boys and I come back at 9:30 and I say let's go to bed and you say, yeah, you go to bed by yourself.
Or even you don't have to leave. You could just come home, get on the computer, or come home, get on your phone, or come home and if you're a video game person, do that. Just be disconnected that
Yep.
way. And all the things that we're talking about help build that connection so that the intimacy comes naturally. It's not forced. It's not and there we go through seasons where it's easy and
We're both sick or something.
yeah, then there's
Oh,
seasons where we've both been through a sickness lately, so our routine kind of got messed up and so we agree together, hey, why don't we hold off and you get better or I get better. He was sick first and I got sick and so it's you just have to talk about it even though it might be awkward.
mm-hmm.
It's not anymore for us. It was at first, but now it's just we just talk about it.
Yep.
We
Yep.
he'll be like, and we do schedule. We have our scheduled nights, but
Crazy.
we have a minimum 2 to 3 times a week. That's our goal right now. We're about 2 times a week is not what our goal is right now. But and then we also try not to go more than so many like 3 nights between because we don't want to
And we're old.
get disconnected. Yeah, we're old. So that's good for us. Others may want to, increase that, and that's fine.
But I'm listening to Ryan and Selena Frederick, one of their newest episodes, talking about all this. Ryan, he looked at his wife and said, "How about we increase our frequency?" And she was like, "Okay," but they're like 35 or something like that.
Yeah,
So it's different.
a
Different.
lot younger than we are.
Everybody's different. Now, the whole and you gotta have a good rhythm because let's say we're just once a week's good. Once a week, that's good for a while. The next thing you know, that one day you have this is the day was something that come up. So now it's once every other 2 weeks, then it comes once every 3 weeks, then it comes once a month. The next thing you know, it's once every 6 months. So
And you're up to 9 years.
yeah, and then you're up to 9 years. And not that she does this, well she doesn't, but um there's a lot of women that will withhold from their husband. A lot of husbands, I can't imagine it, but I'm sure there's husbands that maybe they're just not attracted to their wife, or they just, for me, I'll be upfront. If a husband is withholding from his wife, not, he's probably with somebody else. But you got to be true to each other. And I have a passage picked out here later that I'll get to, but we'll move on from that. Number 7, that's you.
Learn what is important to your spouse and be intentional about doing those things. And one tool that we used to do that was the Five Love Languages book of Gary Chapman. And
Yes.
it, talked about the five love languages. It's physical touch, affirmations, help me, works of,
Yeah.
can't remember them all, my brain's
Like
just,
gifts or
yeah,
whatever.
gifts. And so you
Um,
did this little quiz, and mine was, quality time's another
quality
one.
time. Yep, yep, yep.
My
She
top
likes quality
two
time.
were physical touch and quality time. And then and you can do this for your kids too. And so we did this with our 16-year-old, and his is affirmations. And so, anyway, if you know that your spouse's love language is gifts, then you want to speak to your spouse that way, not through what your gift is or where your love language is, but what your spouse's love language is. So that's just one tool. I'm sure there's others out there that you can use to determine what your spouse's needs are or wants are, but that's just the one that we used. That was also of Gary Chapman, is a
Hmm.
family life author as well. So that's just one we went to, and it was the one. I think the book we read was a blended family book
It was.
by
It was.
him, and they
Hmm.
had that in
Him
there.
and Rondell wrote it together.
So that's learn what your spouse likes and needs, and intentionally try to do those things.
Right. Yeah, because people get married and they never really get to know each other. They think they never really sit down in like these marriage retreats, like the one we went to. They made you get into situations to where you got to learn things about each other that you never learned before. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like,
You got
it's great.
uncomfortable, that's for sure,
Yep, yep.
but it made you grow.
Made us grow. And we're gonna do it again, but this next time, we're gonna go trying to gather more information so we can help others. Number 8, give each other time to themselves. Allow the other spouse to have their time when they want to do things, maybe with friends, or like she goes bowling in the bowling league on Mondays. And so, I mean, here's the deal. I think here's the key to this is you don't want to smother each other. You can't be like connected at the hip 24/7. We're not slaves to each other. Well, in some way, we are committed. But if I want to go golfing with a work outing with the guys, she'll be okay with that. But I don't go golfing 2 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
Or if I want to go fishing, I can go fishing, but I don't go fishing, 15 hours a week,
Yeah.
you know, and you can't get upset if, the other spouse wants to do something every once in a while. But, and if you do get to do something, you know, let the other spouse do something too. You got anything to add to that?
No, I think that's, we have sometimes a ladies group will get together and do a paintboard party, or go to a like a weekend conference or on a Saturday or something like that. And I like to do those things. And so, that's what something that may pop up once or twice a year. And so that's, he doesn't usually have a problem with me going to do that unless we have something else going on. But normally when I say, hey, can I go do this? He's like, yeah, go do that. So
Yep, and I will insist. Okay, number 9, that's you.
show appreciation. So however that looks, verbally show appreciation. He, like I said, he does the budget, and I'm glad he does that because it's too much. I don't want to think about all
Mhm.
that. When I was a single mom, I paid the bills, but like I did budget everything that was left over. But he does that. Does a good job of doing all that. And so he keeps up with, we go out to eat, we go to the store, we go whatever. He's on the computer, putting the receipts in, putting his budget, very good at that. So I appreciate that for him and his Bible study. He does a lot of Bible study. Most people don't study the Bible as much as he does. So I appreciate that too. That's something I'm glad that he does. So just whatever your spouse does that you appreciate, just make sure you're verbally is a good way. Just say, hey, thanks for doing this, or we try to, if he cooks, I'll say thanks for cooking. If I cook, he'll say thanks for cooking, or so we just try to show appreciation even for the everyday things that we do.
Mm-hmm. And I like to just remind her that I love her and that, and I like to say, you're the best.
You're the best.
You're the best. Those things really matter. Number 10, apologize to each other and forgive often. Don't just take for granted that, okay, we had a fight and, well, we're not fighting no more. We're not screaming at each other. So, man, it's all right. It'll blow over. It won't blow over. Because that stuff leads up to the next day and the next day. And next time you got a mountain of problems that you never dealt with. Deal with your problems. And if you're in the wrong, apologize for it. And the other person needs to forgive and move on. Don't hold grudges. Yep.
And sometimes, if things get really heated, sometimes you might say, hey, let's take a break, give us 5 minutes and just, chill out for a little bit and take a recess, but we'll come back and talk,
Yep.
not ever come back.
That doesn't mean that whatever you're taking a break from is that you can just ignore the problem. But you have to settle whatever issue it is peacefully.
Yep.
And that's a lot of times married couples don't know how to resolve things peacefully. Okay, so now we're going to look at what not to do. How do we destroy marriages? How do you destroy marriages? So
Well, the obvious one is not being Christ centered.
Yeah.
You have to have Christ in the center of your marriage, and that's the number one thing. I mean, I don't know how we could do this without Christ, because it takes His love and His example of love and patience and forgiveness for us to know how we're supposed to treat each other.
And we talked about it our very first video. It's not very good, but we're getting better. Maybe we'll do it again. We talk about Ephesians 5, where it talks about how a wife should submit to her husband, and husband should love his wife like Christ loved the church, and love your wife. I say more than yourself, and the wife should respect her husband. So yeah, I know marriage is a Bible concept, and I don't like saying biblical marriage or Christian marriage because to me it's kind of like an oxymoron. Marriage is biblical. The world may not agree with that because the world's really messed up marriage, but marriage is ordained through God, and we need to look at it as God ordained this marriage, so we need to honor God in our marriage. Does that sound right? Okay. Number 2, that's me. When you don't communicate, that causes most of the problems. Little or no communication, or surface level to where, like I said before, I look at her, I listen to her, and sometimes I will say, so this is what you're saying, or this is what you said. What do you mean? Tell me what you mean. That way she knows I'm listening. Because yep, 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 yep. And 2 days later, hey, you ready to go? Where we going? I told you the other day. Oh, yeah. Gotta communicate. Gotta, like she said, the finances, problems with the kids, or you gotta communicate. That's important. That kills marriages. Okay, number 3, that's you.
Being overly critical of your spouse, especially in public settings, that is one that drives me insane. Seeing people on Facebook bashing their husbands, it just makes me crazy. I don't understand it. Like, if you really truly loved your husband and respected him, I mean, obviously, I guess you don't if you're on Facebook bashing him. Because, I mean, you can't be together for years and years and years and not ever get up on each other's nerves or do something wrong or whatever, but you don't need to be on Facebook going, let me tell you what Joey did today. He did blah, 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 blah. Can you believe he did that? Like, I would never do that.
Doing to me.
Even when I was going through my divorce, I had lots of things I could have gone on Facebook and said, but I did not. Not even about my ex-husband, even when we were going through all that. So it's just something I just feel like that is not, it's not Christian-like. It's not respectful, you
And it
know.
caused resentment from the other spouse.
Mhm.
And even when you're trying to be funny,
Don't do
don't.
that.
Don't joke. Don't make crude jokes about your wife or your spouse, your husband. It's not funny because I've seen it done in Christians.
Hmm.
Sarcasm and just joke. I'm thinking that's tacky, and it makes the other person look stupid,
Yeah,
foolish.
we were at a couples gathering, whatever you want to call it, and a couple of the wives were late, and the husbands were kind of giving them a hard time about that. But yet the wives were the ones dealing with the small children and getting them ready to come, and they had food they were bringing in, so they had reasons for not being there. But it was like, don't disparage your wife because she's late. She's dealing with all these things. It was just kind of aggravating to us. Like, I can't believe that they're being that negative about their spouse. So it goes both ways. Like, don't do it.
Okay, number 5. Is that me?
Yeah.
Keeping secrets. Don't keep secrets. Don't keep secrets. That kills any relationship. Working relationship, father and son, mother and daughter, uh, especially husband and wife. Don't keep secrets. Um, be upfront, no matter how tough it is. Uh, be on the same page. Don't think different things. I think this way and she thinks that way. Be on the same page. Don't have inappropriate relationships. Um, like if if there's a female at work that I'm good friends with, and next thing you know I'm calling her and I'm texting her and we're going out to lunch together, and nope,
Nope.
don't do it. Because next thing you know, you're gonna be saying, "I wish that you was as nice as that lady." You may
Hmm.
not say that directly, but you might think, "Well, she was as nice as that lady at work," or she might say,
Hmm.
"I wish he was as understanding as that man at my work." Don't do it. Forget it. You got anything to add to that?
Yeah. I mean, that's the big one is don't, you can't, I cannot be friends with another woman's husband
Nope.
or even another man, whether he's married or not. It's just inappropriate. Don't do it because it may not lead to other things, but it can lead to other things, and it's just not a good place, not a good thing.
Just do anything secretly spending money, um, just doing things behind the other back, because it just leads to problems. And don't do it. All right, number 6.
I think we skipped one. Negativity towards each other, shooting down each other's efforts and
Okay.
ideas. So that
Nope.
was my fault because I
Nope.
told you to do
That's
that
fine.
one. But don't. That kind of goes along with, I think, disparaging each other in public. But this is just like if he does the dishes, when he
Hmm.
puts the dishes in the dishwasher, he loads it differently than I do. We're people and we do things differently. I'm not going to go to him and go, "You didn't do that right.
Right.
You're supposed to put the
Yeah.
plates like this, and you're
No.
supposed to put the cups like
Yeah.
this." And I'm just glad he did it because I'm
Yeah.
not having to do it. So don't shoot down your spouse's attempt to try to help or to try
Yeah.
to do something. Just be grateful that they've tried to do something.
Yeah. Um.
And we said not being in touch with your spouse's needs, that goes with that
Yep.
one
Yep.
we talked
Emotional
about
needs,
earlier.
physical needs, spiritual needs. You know, um, be in touch. The physical. We talked about physical thing. Emotional needs. Something that we both kind of worked out. It's kind of like light bulb. Got it. If she's upset, she's mad or angry or sad or whatever it is, I don't need to say, "What's wrong with you? Just get over it." I've learned that what with her, like, is anything I can do to help? You want to talk about it? Can I help? Just say, why don't you just, it'll be all right. It'll be all right. Don't say, it'll be all right.
They'll say, calm down.
Calm down. Yeah. Yeah.
That has never
Learn
worked.
how to deal with your spouse's emotions. Don't make them worse. Um, Number 7, you want to do that?
Withholding intimacy for punishment. Do not deprive one another. So, like we talked about earlier, we try to plan a couple of nights a week, and sometimes things get busy, and we might say, "Hey, let's hold off to tomorrow," whatever, which is fine. We both agreed on that. But I'm not going to say Well, you're on my nerves right now, so you're
Mm.
just not gonna get it for a couple days, and I'm not gonna do that.
All right. Hey, we're all adults here. This is not. I'm gonna check the block. Not intended for kids. And some of you might need to hear this. Some of you thinking, "Wow, I'm glad there's somebody out there that actually talks about this." Because a year ago we would not have been talking
No,
like this. There's no way we would have even said these things to each other.
yeah.
We wouldn't have said these things to each other, much less to other people. So hopefully, thousands of people that are watching this video, maybe more like probably 50, but hopefully, it's gonna be thousands of people watching this video. So let me read something here from our family marriage Bible. Um, 1 Corinthians, chapter 7. We're going to read verses 3 through 6. This is Paul talking to the new Christians at Corinth who are getting out of paganism and pagan ways and the whole Roman Greek culture, which is not different, is much different than ours. So he's got to teach them certain things you can do, certain things you can't do. So he says, let the husband render to his wife the affection due her, and likewise also the wife to her husband. The wife does not have authority over her own body, but the husband does. And likewise the husband does not have authority over his body, but the wife does. Do not deprive one another, except with consent for a time, that you may give yourself to fasting and prayer, come together and come together again. Okay? Come together again so that Satan doesn't tempt you for lack of self-control. So, a couple principles here is I can't just say I'm just not attracted to you anymore, and I just don't desire you. So I'm just pushing you to the side because a lot of times that means if a man does that, it means he's probably attracted to somebody else.
Mhm.
And a wife shouldn't say, and that's what was going on here in Corinth. The men were going down to the temples and having sex with the prostitutes. So he's saying, man, have your own wife. Don't have any other woman. And the same with the women. Women, don't deprive your husband. And if you do, what I mean, hey, we're going through some sicknesses. Let's just hold off, whatever. Or it could be, let's say, a lot of distractions. A lot of distractions. I'm trying to think of a situation here. Let's say, God forbid, one of our family members was badly sick in an accident, or we had a lot of stuff on our mind. And the last thing we can think about is being physical intimate. So we might say we're gonna have to hold off for a while because we got a lot of things that we're dealing with. But a while doesn't mean 6 months. You know,
Mhm.
you got to come back together. What wasn't one of the stories? Is it in a book or is it one of the podcasts we listened to about they went? One of their kids was in sickness and they went for a long time without being intimate, and this guy said we just got to get together. You
Mhm.
know, but don't deprive each other. Uh, so number 8, that's you.
And don't hold any grudges.
Yes, don't hold grudges.
Forgive and don't don't keep bringing back up stuff that
Hmm.
happened 6 months ago. You remember when you did that? You know, don't try to just keep bringing that up over and over and over again. Once you've forgiven it, if they've if they're still doing it, that's one thing. But if they've repented of whatever it is, whether it's small or little or big, if they've repented of it and you've forgiven them and you've had a conversation about it, you worked it out and let it go. Don't keep bringing it up.
Hmm. Okay, that's good. Finally, we both agreed the best principle of marriage. I think our theme from the Bible is Ephesians chapter 5, verses 22 through 33. And I'm not going to read it. We did a episode on it, and maybe we'll do it again, and we'll do a better one. Okay. Paul gives instructions on how a husband should love his wife and how, just like Christ loved the church. Christ gave his life for the church and he served the church. And the wife is supposed to submit to the husband. If the husband is loving his wife like Christ loved the church, a good Christian wife, she'll just automatically want to submit because the husband is loving her. She'll want to love him and submit him and be under his authority. That's the principle.
Mhm.
I'm telling you, husbands and wives, if you live by this principle, Ephesians chapter 5, 22 through 33. If you haven't read it, go back and read it. Sit down with your husband and sit down with your wife. Go over it. Read it together and talk about it.
Mhm.
A year ago, we wouldn't have done that. But we do now. It makes such a big difference. Um, so, and some resources, Family Life. There's a plenty. Go to familylife.com. They have marriage ministries. They have um, children ministries. They have blended families. There's a lot of good devotional books, podcasts, and the Weekend to Remember. Weekend to Remember is a 3-day event um, where they talk about problems in marriages, and the premise is they want people that have serious problems that are looking for help. And there are the one we went to. You see people just they don't like what they're hearing, so the wife will get up and storm out, and the husband will get up and storm out, but they eventually they come back together. And some of those people there, you look around when there's thousands of people at a conference, you tend to notice when somebody does something abruptly. And so, um, Family Life, Weekend to Remember, that's a good place to go. No matter if you're just like us, we just want to go because it's a good time and we're going to get more resources to better our marriage, or you just totally disconnected like we were last year and you're like, we need to work on our marriage. We're just so disconnected. That was a way to get for us to get connected.
And it doesn't matter whether you've been married for a week or you've been married for 50 years. We saw couples of all ages there. So you can help
I've
anybody.
been married 50 years. 50 years. And I would say, even if you're engaged, you can go. There's certain aspects you probably can't participate in because a lot of it is married people specific, but you can learn. If you're maybe for your first year anniversary, go to one of those weekend remembers. Um, I still like Tony Evans. I know a lot of people have been criticizing him for whatever. I don't know what it was, but I like Tony Evans' book, Kingdom Marriage, Kingdom Husband, and Kingdom Wife. We're reading those awesome books. Good resource. Fierce Marriage. Okay, so um, I wish I had a picture of them, but Fierce Marriage, Ryan and Selena Frederick. They are from Seattle, Washington area, and they're just a married couple. And he's actually going to seminary. Great guy, great biblical teacher, and she's a great wife. And they have several young girls. There they are. That's their podcast. Yeah, hold it up there. Yeah. Yep. So there you go. Fierce Marriage. They have Facebook, YouTube, um, Apple Podcasts.
They have a marriage section
Awesome.
of their podcast and
This is
a
the book
family
they wrote.
section.
One of their few books.
That's a good book.
Great book.
I'm gonna have to read that one again.
And then we got the Pursuit books. This is the Wife in Pursuit 31-day challenge. Tell you how to pursue your husband, and this is the how to pursue your wife. We did those last year, and we're doing them again because they're awesome.
And we're doing they're done. It's a 31 days, so you have a section for each day. And we did that first time around. This time around, we're going to do one pursuit per week, just because we're reading the other books and we both have our own Bible studies we do, and all the things. So we don't want to.
And another good book to do is when you are serious about changing your marriage. Another good resource, Ryan and Selena Frederick. How a husband speaks, and she's got one. How a wife speaks, and they both go together. And some of the chapters go together. So I'm reading chapter 3, she's reading chapter 3. It might be the same type of topic. Great books. They have different other books. One, See Through Marriage, that we're reading now. They got devotionals, and they got, if you join their website for a small fee, it ain't very much, like $10 a month, you can get access to their web courses. Awesome web courses, web videos. But those are the things that you can resource. Any other resources I forgot?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm sure there's more resources out there, but these are the ones that we've been using, and it's really helped us grow.
All right. Well, so that is our advice on how to make your marriage better and what not to do to destroy your marriage. And so the next 2 weeks, we're going to do husband and wife specific. I think next week, I'm going to do, what does a Christ-like husband look like? So I'm going to make a list on what a Christ-like husband look like, and she may come up with some questions or comments. And then the next week, she's going to do, what does a submissive Christ-like wife, Christian wife look like? So I'm gonna let her script that all on her own.
Now I just want to say, if you have a topic that you're interested in us covering, you can email us or you can just put it in the comments, whether it's a blended family topic or a marriage topic. If we don't know the answer, we'll do the research and we'll try to figure it out for you.
Yep. Or you might say, I have a problem with my husband or with my wife, and if it's a woman, a wife specific question, I'll let her answer it. You know, if a husband specific, I'll try to answer it, or we'll both sit down and answer it. But if you have a question that you don't want to tell anybody else, email it to us, and we'll get back to you. We'll do our best to answer it.
Mhm.
All right. Well, that's it. You got anything else?
I don't think so.
All right. Well, hey, like us, subscribe, and stay tuned. Next week, we're going to talk about what does a Christ-like husband look like. Okay. Well, thank you.